Alright guys, I hope you all are doing well. I wanted to go ahead and take some time to explain our upcoming project on the Anthropocene epic that we've been talking about this current section. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be creating a Powtoon, and I will be making a separate video with like step-by-step instructions on how to show you how to create your own Powtoon. But what a Powtoon basically is, you saw one before spring break when we first started this. It's basically like a short little video clip that's animated, okay? And it's fairly user-friendly, so like I made a couple, and I figure if I'm able to do it, you will be able to do it too, alright? So you're going to end up, your final product, which we probably won't get into really this week, but your final project, you're going to have 2.5 to 3 minute long Powtoon animation over the topic of your choice. So when we are first looking at this, we're going to go ahead and do step 1. So pick a topic. So I would like you guys to pick a topic. You only have to pick one of the topics below. You do not have to do all of them. That would be crazy. So you just have to pick one of the topics. And there's a variety of topics here. When you pick your topic, I would like you to highlight the topic that you choose in yellow or some other color. I'm not picky, just so that I know which topic you actually ended up choosing. So a little brief synopsis of all these different possible topics. So this first one here, remember you only have to pick one. This first one looks at historical events and the impact on the climate that they had. So pick one major historical event. I listed some of the ones that I think would be good options for you. However, if you have another one in mind, maybe just send me an email and ask me. That way I can make sure that there's like enough research for you to do a whole project on it. Okay, so any of the world wars, industrial revolution, if you're into like the nuclear aspect of things, so nuclear testing, Chernobyl, the Bhopal disaster is not nuclear, it's actually a pesticide spill. Any of those would be excellent things to do your project on. Okay. You also see next to all of these topics, there's kind of like a what I'm looking for in the project. And then there's also some resources. So I provided you with at least starting points for some helpful websites for you to do research on. Okay, so that way you're not overwhelmed with the crazy amount of stuff out there on the internet. Okay. Now, some of these are going to be more open-ended than others. So like this one, there's not a lot of resources for because depending on which historical event you pick, you'll have your own separate websites for those. Okay, so some of them, like this one, is a little more open-ended, so I want you to talk about how this historical event changed or affected the climate. Like, you can talk about how it affected humans a little bit, that's fine, but we're really looking at how it had like an environmental effect. The next topic is dealing with human population. So we know from before spring break, our human population is increasing like crazy. So this one is basically, how has the human population changed within the last 400 years? Your project should not only answer this question, but look into some of the other effects that this increasing population has. So this is going to be a project that has more of an overarching theme to it. So you're going to look at different aspects of climate change. And then of course, some references over here. Okay. Another option is we can start to look at our carbon levels, so increased carbon levels in atmosphere and land environment. So for this project, you're looking at how our increased carbon concentration has affected both the atmosphere and the land-bearing organisms. So these are some of the like essential questions that I'll kind of be looking for with this particular topic. So I'll be looking for you to define like what a greenhouse gas is, how are they affecting our atmosphere, and then possible solutions or ways to decrease that carbon concentration. Okay, so this is looking more at our atmosphere and in our land. The next one's kind of similar, but it's got a bigger focus on the ocean environment. So you'll see some of it has the same questions because I mean, they kind of go hand in hand. But then some of it gets into like, how does it affect the polar regions and the ice sheets? How does it affect the pH of our oceans? What effects does this have on our ocean environment? So some of the resources that you see are kind of similar for these, but you do get more specific ones towards the bottom of those lists. Okay. some more topics for you, so if those haven't floated your boat yet, here we go. Alright, so the next one you could possibly do is looking at the palm oil industry and deforestation. We mentioned it briefly before spring break, so your project is basically going to focus on, like, what is palm oil? Where do we find palm oil? Why is it leading into such a major problem with deforestation and destruction of rainforest habitat? Okay, so there's that option for you. The next one is looking at deforestation again, but with focus on the biodiversity of the tropical rainforest. So kind of looking at why is that tropical rainforest so important? Why is that biodiversity so important? What are some of the major issues and efforts being taken to fix those issues for our tropical rainforest? Our next one, so we've got a couple on deforestation, just looking at different aspects of it. So agriculture and deforestation. So how is agriculture, and it can be agriculture anywhere. It can be here in the United States, it can be in Africa or Asia or South America, or you can do a combined part where you're looking at it in different parts of the world. So describe how agriculture, which is usually something that we view as a good thing, has actually caused some negative effects on our environment. Okay, and where you want to focus your concentration on, okay, whether it be agriculture here in the United States or elsewhere, that is totally up to you. Okay. Habitat destruction and verge of extinction. I predict, I could be wrong, I predict that a lot of you will probably choose this one, just because I know a lot of you are animal lovers. So what we see here is we are going to, I would like you to choose one animal or plant species that is endangered or threatened, and give me some information on that species, because not everyone's going to possibly know what that species is. Why is their habitat being destroyed, and what is being done to help prevent them from going extinct. Okay, so I have a couple over here, but once again, this is another open-ended one, because depending on what animal or plant that you choose, will kind of it'll kind of cause you to have different resources. Okay. One helpful hint that I would recommend is starting with this red list of threatened species. Okay, so let's say I'm going to do this project, all right? I want to do this one here because I think a lot of you are going to want to do it. Maybe I'll be wrong. Who knows? Okay, so I'm going to highlight it. So you just highlight it, and then you click on the highlight tool up here. We'll make it yellow. Okay, so that tells me that, all right, that's the one that we're going to do. And then these are all hyperlinks. So I'm going to start here on the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species. This website is actually a worldwide effort in keeping track of all of the endangered and extinct and threatened species there are. Okay. So first thing we're going to do once we get here, you might have an animal in mind that you want to do, so you could just type it in there. You could also do a search for maybe an animal that you've never heard of before. Okay, so you would click the advanced search button. Okay. And then you go down here and there's this thing that says red list category. Okay, and remember, this is only if you're going to choose to do that last one. If you're choosing to do the one about history and climate change, you don't even have to worry about this website. Okay, but if you do decide to do that last one, you want to select critically endangered or endangered. Actually, select both of them. Okay. And then there's going to be a whole bunch of animals that pop up. There will also be plants as well. So anything from geckos to turtles to groupers to pygmy raccoons, which are just like skinny raccoons. So pick an organism, okay? It can be a plant, like you see this one here. All right. It can be an animal, like this one here. So pick one, and once you click on it, see, if you guys were here, you could just pick one for me. Now I have to actually make a decision. Let's do a skate, okay? So if we were to say, I really wanted to do my project on the common skate, okay? I would click on it. This does give you some good information, so if we scroll down, we get a cool map of what is actually being shown here, okay? And then if you keep scrolling, it will actually give you like tabs you can select, so you can look at like the threats. Oh, it's dealing with high amounts of fishing in its habitat, fisheries, and some invasive species. Oh, that's not good. All right, you can also look at what's being done too. So that would be a good resource if you chose to do that last one. Okay, and of course you can use other resources too, but these are just good starting points. All right, so first step, pick a topic, highlighted. Second step, we're going to get into some research. So this, you will have editing access to this. So here, okay, I would like you to fill in this little like graphic organizer. So like your main focus or topic. All right. So if I was going to do that endangered species one, right, I would say, okay, common skate, and I would talk about how it's an endangered species. Okay, there's my main focus and topic. All right, if you did the history one or the carbon levels or whatever your main focus is, type it in that box. Okay, an introduction. So with your video, you kind of want to have like an introduction, a couple main points, and then a conclusion. Okay, so introduction, how are you going to hook in whoever's watching your presentation? Are you going to give them like a cool, interesting fact or statistic? Maybe you'll give them like an awesome picture or graphic. So like I could start off, this is kind of lame, but it's off the top of my head. And you know that I can't type and talk at the same time. Okay, so maybe I said, do you know what a skate is? Most people don't. They think it's like a roller skate. Totally wrong. Okay, but give me a little bit of an introduction or like what you're going to be kind of hooking your audience into. Okay, there is a spot too for what website you used. This will probably be used more on like the main points. So maybe I want to say, as my first main point, I want to describe what it is. So a skate is a shark-like animal that lives in the ocean. Okay, and I would probably give, look, can't type, and I would probably give like some more details here, and then I could copy and paste that URL right into here. Okay, you're going to keep going through that. Of course, depending on what project it is, your information will all look a little bit different. Okay, so you'll go and you'll type in all of these, third, fourth. Some of you might not have a fifth main point. Okay, I would say you definitely need 4 to do well on this. Some of them are just answering the questions that I kind of put up in the description. Okay, but I put the 5th one there in case you needed more room. You can also add your own boxes as needed too. Okay, and then conclusion, when you do your Powtoon stuff, you don't want to just be like, the end. That's it. Goodbye. Okay, with your conclusion, so a lot of these is like how people can actually make the situation better. So like a call to action, like what can you do to make this better? Or sometimes you can leave them off with like an interesting fact. Okay, so with your conclusion, don't just say the end, but tell me what are you going to do for your conclusion? Okay. The other thing is, so remember, when you start your research, I would start off with the links that I gave you. Okay, start there. And then if you want to go ahead and find your own resources, that's perfectly fine too. I will say that Wikipedia, although it's a nice place to get a cool summary, is not the best for research. So try to stick to websites that are like .gov or World Wildlife Fund, RescueRainforest.com, like a lot of those more like web-based and research-based websites. Okay. As you have questions, please let me know. For now, I just want you to pick a topic and then start putting your research into this, okay? And then this is due, I think I said, Monday by 3 p.m. Okay, so you've got a couple days to work on this part of it. I will be posting another like how-to video on how to actually create your Powtoon, but that will be for another video. If you guys have questions, email me. I hope you're doing good.